Good afternoon, Micheal.
Hello.
I was just at open training just now. It looks like good news. Riccardo Calafiori, Piero Hincapié back on the training pitch. Are they ready for Sunday?
Yeah, we have still another training session, so we'll see tomorrow after that to assess everybody and make the decision first of all in the squad.
No fresh injury worries from the Inter game?
No, after Inter we had no issues reported.
Just on a selection headache that you might have now, and a welcome one, I'm guessing, with Gabriel Jesus and Victor Gyökeres and the returning Kai Havertz. It's something that you wanted maybe from the start of this season, isn't it?
Yes, we were waiting for that, and with the amount of games that are coming up, they're all going to have opportunities and minutes, obviously, so great to have them back, and especially to have them in good form.
I've asked you this before about Victor, actually, in that he had to start the season effectively without Jesus and Kai Havertz. Now that they're back, how much do you think it's not going to just help Arsenal but help him as well?
Yeah, well, he started without a pre-season as well, and a lot of minutes and a lot of responsibility on him. And now the fact that we have other options as well, I think is something really positive, especially for the squad. And you could see the other day, the guy scoring 2 goals, Victor coming in and making an impact to win the game.
Sunday we'll see you come up against Manchester United and Micheal Carrick. How much of a tougher proposition do you think that game is compared to maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, well, obviously Michael coming in is going to bring new ideas. Always the intensity rises up. You could see in the derby in Manchester the kind of behaviours and the game that they played. So yeah, we expect a really tough match. We will adapt to that for sure. But we are at home and we know how important that game is for us.
Can I just ask you about Ethan Ranieri? We know he's out in Marseille. It looks like it is going to be an agreed deal with Marseille for the rest of the season. From your perspective, how hard a decision was it, and what were the key factors behind it?
Yeah, well, I think the deal is quite close, but yeah, it's something that we constantly have to be monitoring. I think the talented young players that we have, they need minutes, and in this case, Ethan wasn't having enough minutes, and the last thing that we want is cut his development, because he's such a talent and someone that loves and breathes football. That's his life. And after having a discussion with him, with his father, the agent, and the club, we decided that the best thing to do it was to leave and go on loan, and then we have to pick the right place. And having all the options, understanding the experience that we had in Marseille as well with Willy, the fact that Roberto is there and he's an incredible development of young talent, and he's a really courageous manager in the way he plays, by the way he plays with young talent as well, and he has a big track record about that. And I think it fits the way of playing for the qualities that we want to see for Ethan. So it's going to be a great experience for him.
Micheal, you would have been a teenager, I think, when the Arsenal-Manchester United rivalry was its absolute fever pitch back in the late 90s, early 2000s. How big an impact did that rivalry have on you, and did it make you think, I want to be part of the Premier League because of that particular rivalry that was happening then?
Yeah, and you guys sell it so well, especially in Spain. You could see the tension and the rivalry and those individual battles that they were there as well, that make the game really, really special. So yeah, obviously 2 massive clubs that they've been fighting at the highest level for so many years, and yeah, we want to try to have the best possible game to win it.
It has thrown up so many incredible moments, some incredible rivalries as well, that fixture. Does one stand out for you? What was your first memory of it, or your most memorable one back from then?
I don't know, there are a lot, but obviously just before kickoff as well, a lot of the things that were going on, and that's pricing up the tension, and then obviously the atmosphere in the stadium. But yeah, some incredible players as well on that era as well, that they've been absolutely legends of this league. So that's what it makes it so exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jake from the Premier League. Hi, on Sunday then, against Manchester United, how different a side do you think you face from what you saw in the derby compared to perhaps before Micheal Carrick took charge?
We don't know. Every game is different. Obviously, at the end, the individuals are the ones that make the difference, or the ones that make the game in a certain way. And we're going to try to be ourselves, be very dominant like we always want to be, impose the game that we want to play, and regardless of what they want to do, we want to take the game in the areas that are very good for us.
And you mentioned the other 2 strikers who are now back to partner Victor Gyökeres. Do you think that gives you confidence that he can get back to the form that he showed as to why you wanted to sign him in the first place, in front of goal?
Yeah, it's a lot of things that have to happen for consistently being able to produce those performances and numbers. But we have different relationships around him as well, because Kai is a player that can play in the two attacking midfield positions. So we can vary in relation to the opponents, their behaviour, and the game that we want to play. So that's very good.
And just lastly, you touched on it earlier, you came to a club that you knew, like Micheal Carrick has done. When you arrive in the first place, does it, I don't want to say give you a head start, but does it make the sort of settling in period easier, or is there more pressure on you?
I don't know. First of all, it's the feeling that I had towards the club, because I played here, and that's unique. That brings something extra. And the fact that you know a lot of people, in my opinion, is something very beneficial. And understanding the history of the club from the inside, and then you have to acclimatise and adapt to the circumstances and start your job.
Thank you.
Hi Micheal, there's some data that's come out that suggests that you're playing currently with the highest defensive line in the league, and you're playing against the lowest defensive lines in the league. Do you think the Premier League's almost boiling down to a point that the team that wins the league is the one that's best equipped to break down these low blocks?
Well, there is one of the weapons that is necessary, because a lot of teams are doing that, but as well we can see more and more the man-to-man game that is conquering not only the Premier League but Europe, I think, as well. So you need to dominate all the phases in the game if you want to have the chance to win major trophies.
And we've seen now you scored 10 goals against Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich across those three massive European games. And you see the difference between European and domestic football. How different do you have to set up to prepare for each competition now?
Yeah, it is very different. First of all, sometimes because the information that and the time that you have to prepare those games, and when you don't know them that much, it is a bit different. Then the rules change a little bit in the way the games are managed as well. And yeah, there is always an element of you are in or out, you need the points, you don't. So the results as well and how teams behave can change. But yeah, so far it's been good.
James Athletic.
Hi Micheal, I just want to ask you about Kai. He's obviously been back with the group for a few weeks now, but we've not seen him yet, I think, in the Premier League or the Champions League. Can you let us know your assessment of kind of where he is in his rehab and how happy you are with his progress so far?
Well, he's very close. Obviously, he's been out for a long time, almost a year, for different reasons. And now we have to be very smart in the manner that we manage that load, the minutes. And I'm sure in the next few weeks he's going to play minutes. I cannot tell you in which competition, because that will depend as well on the game context. And it's a context that is positive to throw him in or not with his qualities. And yeah, it's great that we have him. We can use him in different positions. We will see him in different positions. And we are really happy to have him.
And is the aim really to take your time to make sure that when you enter the decisive period of the season, March, April, May, that you've got Kai fit and firing at that point?
Yes, because after a long-term injury, it's not only the period that you come in, it's what happens in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And we want to maintain that and manage that really well, so after we can creep it up, as you said, when all the big games are coming up, and we have make sure that everybody is in the right mind and physically at the highest level.
James, CBS.
Hi Micheal, I know you're not a big social media user, but maybe you're aware of the nerves and the tension that's on there among the Arsenal fan base, and I think many of us would say that's drifting into the stadium a little bit. You know, you're top of the Champions League, not 7 points clear in the Premier League. What would be your message to supporters to sort of try to calm the nerves?
It's not about calming, it's about continuing to do what we are doing really well and try to evolve every single day to be better. So from their side is continue doing what they do in the stadium, create more energy, more positiveness around the games in each actions. And if we do that and we create that kind of a scenario, we're going to make it more and more difficult to the opponent, and that's going to help us to win more games.
Pep Guardiola's just said you're the best team in the world. Do you agree?
I don't know. I think we are the team that wants to be constantly better, that we're doing a lot of things right, but we are far from perfect. And our only aim is to sustain the level that we are doing, but especially in certain areas try to improve again.
James, again.
Micheal, whenever you play against United, you talk a lot about transition, how dangerous they are in transition. Is that where you think the game will be won and lost?
It's one of the areas. I mean, they are so good in a lot of departments. It's clear that when that team has a space to run and certain players to activate those runs, they become lethal. And you saw that a few days ago in Manchester. But they have a lot of attributes to cause you problems. But as well, like every team, they have their weaknesses as well.
I mean, in terms of that transition play, are they the best in the league at that, do you think?
I don't know. Historically, there's always been something very, very linked to that, and the profile of players that they always have, and certain individuals that are so good at activating those spaces as well. But yeah, I don't know the stat exactly, but for sure they are one of the best.
Matt from the Standard.
Hi, Micheal. That's about Calafiori. He's obviously so unique in the positions he takes up, particularly in the attack. How much has the balance of the team sort of been impacted by missing those specific qualities?
We try to adapt to the qualities of our players, and certain players give us more dynamism and more options in terms of the spaces that they can occupy and where they are comfortable and how they can link between them. And others are probably more static and more fixed and more positional. And Ricky's quality is that he can be very fluent in many spaces.
And just one on Bukayo. I think it's 12 matches without a goal, which is the joint longest of his career at Arsenal. What do you sort of put that down to?
Well, that's a possibility always, but the impact that he has in games around all the attacking process for us, and the attraction that he has in the opponents as well, open up spaces for other players. We want him obviously scoring and assisting in every match, and that has to be the aim at the level that he has. So we keep working on that.
Okay, last couple of years live. Charles from goal.
Okay, just going back to Kai quickly. I remember it was about a year ago you called him like a genetic powerhouse because he's so used to playing and he's stayed fit so much in his career. Do you think sort of mentally after such a long time out it's going to be quite difficult for him to kind of trust his body when he does get back? Is that something he's going to have to work on?
I don't think so, because he's a player that has an unbelievable track record, and what happened, okay, it happened. And you have to go through that in your career at least once. You know, he's gone through that period that has enabled him as well to learn more about the game, about his body, and probably about how much he loves playing and how difficult is his life when football is not a big part of that. And he looks really, really hungry, and I'm sure we're going to see a very good version of Kai.
Just quickly on Ethan, at a similar age in your career, you took a big move leaving Barcelona to go to France on loan. The experience that you spoke very fondly of, have you sort of used that and spoken to Ethan about that? Think that this time he spends there won't just be good for him on the pitch but off it as well in terms of a learning experience?
Yes, and not only me but a lot of players that they have these kind of situations, and just understanding how he's going to feel, because when they talk about the opportunity and the clubs that are interested in you to go, the first thing is excitement. You are willing to play, you speak to the manager, he's very keen on you, and you're going to play at the weekend and you're going to start a lot of games, and this is all very good. But one day you have to go, okay, pack your bags, this is the flight tickets, and you have to go to Marseille. Whoa, wait. And that is fear, is insecurity, is getting out of a place that has been really comfortable for him, around his family. But then this is the thing, at the end you have to be thrown there, into the Sharks, in an incredible football culture and atmosphere and club, and it's going to make him so much good.
From here.
Hi, Micheal. Just going back to that comment from Pep earlier about Arsenal being the best team in the world. Appreciate you probably don't want to say we are the best team in the world, but is it a big compliment to come from someone like him, because he was your relationship's well documented? So just to hear that, it must be give you a bit of a buzz.
It's always much better to hear positive things about your team and the work that you are doing, but obviously that's a big word, especially because, in my opinion, to be related to that, you have to win a lot of things, and we haven't. But we certainly have the purpose to be the best version that we can be every single day, and we're not going to stop till we achieve that.
And just one on Gary Jesus. Obviously, he played so well the other night. Is it difficult to leave someone like that out of the team when he scores 2 goals, plays so well, obviously with United, to come on Sunday?
Well, it's exactly what you want from your strikers, the same that Victor did. But at the end, you have to pick what you think is the best team to start against a different opposition, a different context, and then how you're going to finish the game as well. So tomorrow evening or the morning of the match, we will decide that.
First of all, looking ahead to the game, obviously you had a fantastic result last week. How's the mood been, and what's the team news looking like? I'm not going to tell you the team first off, but
Any injuries then?
no, everyone came through the game really well actually. I mean, I can't say anything apart from the obvious. You know, it's been a good week. I think it was a big result, big performance, and a big kind of big uplift. You know, with the feeling and inside the stadium and it's getting that balance. You know, between taking the encouragement and the confidence from the game itself and the performance, and keeping level-headed and our feet on the ground, knowing we've got another big game coming up, and one game doesn't change and make you a great team. It gives us a great foundation to build on. So yeah, there's a lot of confidence, there's a lot of good feeling within the group, but measured with that, you know, and we know what's coming and we've got to be ready for it. The club announced yesterday, and Casemiro himself announced that he'll be leaving at the end of the season. I'm guessing he'll have a pivotal role, but it also raises question as to some other players' futures. Harry Maguire, for example, another person's contract's running out. Have the club had discussions with him about his future? Does he know where his future lies?
I think that's just coming into that time of the season, really, and with contracts, and obviously January is January in the window, and kind of working my way through that and coming towards the end of the season in terms of contracts and decisions, and that'll obviously be taken in discussions and in good time, really, and at the right time. So you know, I think the kind of announcement for Cassie, I think was for clarity as much as anything. You know, it was kind of decided anyway, before I arrived. So it's not just a knee-jerk kind of decision, but the type of personality, the character that he is. I think it shows with his performance last week, you know, and where he is mentally and how much it means for him to be here and to finish the season strong. I've already had that conversation with him, and he's desperate to do well and finish well, and it's good to see. So I've got no doubt about him at all.
Micheal, just on that, does that mean that you're going to be involved in these discussions? Because obviously it's a bit of a weird situation that at the moment you're only here until the end of the season, and then clearly the club's got to operate beyond that. I didn't know what kind of input you had into all of these decisions on contracts and targets and what happens with people.
Yeah, well, you know, for the week or so that it's been so far, I think looking too far down the track hasn't happened just yet. I think it's been the initial thoughts of what's happening now. I think what the important thing for me is any decision I make, or my staff mate or the club mate. It's not short term. You know, it's not just to get through to the end of the season. You know, I've got a responsibility to whatever happens next for it to be in a good place and moving forward to make the right decisions. So you know, as time goes on, I'm sure I'll be part of it and we'll work our way through it.
Just in terms of the injuries, Manchester Lake, when he was first missing, Ruben said, I'd be back next week, and now we're weeks, months down. Is he anywhere near coming?
Hopefully, yeah. He had a bit of a setback initially before I arrived, I think, and only small, but it's maybe not so much a setback. I think it just was a little bit slower than we'd hoped. But he's certainly getting closer, and you know, hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so, without putting an exact time, he'll be back and around it, and it'd be great to have him back.
Michael, how are you feeling about Arsenal?
Yeah, looking forward to the game. It's a big challenge, you know. They're a very good team. It's pretty obvious to say that they've got so many strong points to the game in the squad, and so it's a big challenge. You know, they're where they are for a reason, in the Champions League where they are for a reason, and so we're fully aware of that. You know, not taking that lightly at all. It's we feel we're in a good place, and we go in there looking forward to the game. So it's where we want to be. You know, in that with that real positive and that energy and that enthusiasm, and to go there and be positive. But yeah, for sure we know that it's not going to come easy.
Michael, you talk about you making decisions for the long term, not just the short term. We saw Cobby mainly make his first league start in Manchester Derby. Just wonder how important could he be in the long term future of this club, and what's it been like working with him so far?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed working with Cobby. I've known him since he was young. I think I started working with him a little bit when he was 13, 14 years old, when I was kind of going through my badges myself. So it's
Listen, I've said it before. I think this club needs young players coming through and being the foundation for understand what it means and not just for the players or the squad, but for the club and for the supporters, you know. And I think it's something that we need to grasp and we need to keep building on. And Cobby's a prime example, you know, to come through so quickly and have the rapid rise. And to play in some unbelievably big games and impact those big games at such a young age shows an awful lot of quality in the terms of the character and to be able to handle it. And I think part of a career is a few ups and downs, and sometimes it goes in different trajectories. But I think we seen last week what Cobby can bring. It was great, you know. He's quite straight-faced and he doesn't give you an awful lot, but you could see the way he played and he expressed himself. He was enjoying himself, and to see him like that was great.
Paul. Hi, Michael. When you were playing against Arsenal as a player, you had lots of battles when the clubs were both going for the title. Obviously, Arsenal have kind of pulled away the last 2 or 3 years to actually be up there challenging for the title. Can United look at Arsenal and some things that they've done as a sort of example of how to sort of get out of that rut and get up there and challenging again?
I think we've got our ideas, you know, and what needs to be done and how we need to get there. I think credit to Arsenal, you know, they're in a really strong place at the moment and they've built the squad and the group, and Micheal takes a lot of credit for that. He's done a fantastic job, and I think we've got our own ideas as well of what we need to do and what it's going to take to get there, and that's what we'll keep working towards.
Carl and then Tyrone.
Hello, Mr. Carrick. I'd like to ask about the use of Brian Bruno at Derby, played as a centre forward. How does his game as centre forward contrast to Benjamin Sesko and Joshua Zirkzee?
Yeah, it's just variety in terms of the strengths in some ways. I think Brian gave him a bit of a free role in many ways in a partnership with Bruno last week, and to drift and to fill different spaces. I think Ben's very good at playing on the last line and runs in behind, and I think we've seen that over recent weeks, and he's done great to get his goals, so he's in a good place. And Josh can do a little bit of both and plays and drifts and plays in the hole and plays into feet and links and is very good at bringing other people into play. So just different styles, you know. I think certain games will suit different styles. It's great to have that flexibility for sure, and Mateus come on through the middle and made a big difference for us and in terms of carrying the game into the later stages and creating a second goal. So we've got good options through there, and we just felt last week that was the way to go, and obviously thankfully it paid off for us.
Hi Michael, just ask you about Diogo. He's a player who's had a difficult season. There was a bit of frustration with him early on in the game last week as well. It seems that fans have kind of criticised him a bit this time and not fully taken by him. How do you think he's having a season, and do you think kind of settling into a role at right back now might help him after being moved around a lot this season?
Yeah, I thought he played ever so well last week. I have to say, you know, there was obviously the incident and the yellow card, and that was probably after 10 minutes or so. So to go one-on-one with the winger for the rest of the game and to manage that and to defend as well as he did, it was very impressive. So I was delighted with him last week. I think it's pretty obvious, you know, at times there's been a few ups and downs with performance, not individually but collectively. So then it's not easy to get your rhythm and find your top form individually. But I think Diogo, from what I've seen here, I've known him for a while and seen him this week, he's really focused. He's desperate to do well. Loves playing for the club. You can see that, and as I said, he played fantastically well last week, so a lot for him to build on.
Just ask you quickly about Ben as well. I saw you put your arm around him at the end last week. Obviously, he didn't get on. It felt like you inherited him at a good time in his United career after what Darren had done with him. How do you now go about managing him when he's not played for 2 weeks and might risk kind of losing that momentum? And what have you made of him since you got him on the training ground? Yeah,
I don't think it's losing momentum. I think it's, as I said, it was a team for last week to go into the game in a certain way. I think he's in a good place, but I think he's trained really well. Obviously, we're working with him and keep trying to improve him as much as possible. But I've been really impressed, to be honest, the way he's trained and he's finishing and the way he's gone about it. So yeah, I don't see it as anything else other than pushing on and using what he's just done over the last month or so as a stepping stone to be here and successful for a long time.
Looking forward to it.
And did your other podcast that you're on make a few quid after comments?
No comment. I didn't realise how many Argentinian friends I had till this week. I've had some shit off them, Jesus. But hey, look, that was my opinion. But, do you know what? What we said probably wasn't great when you look back.
You're backtracking?
No, I'm not apologising for it, no. I'm just saying what... the thing we was trying to say was, look, we thought... And
it was a joke, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, we thought, still is, physically, it's a mismatch. Yeah. Now, look, the way we described it probably wasn't great, and we probably shouldn't have done that, but still, it was.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
He's had one good game as well.
See, he hasn't, though. That's what, I think it's a bit harsh.
I
think he's better than you make out. Like, I
hope to God he proved me wrong. But look at the week before against Brighton, Danny Welbeck. They couldn't handle Danny Welbeck. Look at the week before that, Burnley. He gave the goal away against Burnley.
From my perspective, I feel like his major issue has been injuries, though. When he's available, more often than not, he's pretty good. And I can see why he would feel a bit emasculated by it. Saying, he's going to get picked up in the team. You remember, it's little man syndrome as well. It's like, come on, don't do this.
I don't even know what it means.
Adam, I can see why I was offended about it, and that's what I said. We probably worded it not in a great way. And I hope he proves me wrong. He's had a great game against City. He was brilliant, but we've got to see that now for a season. Again on Sunday, it's a big one for him. So,
now that we're talking about it, Scholesy, part of the show later on, we're supposed to come to you about sort of United pundits getting a bit of stick. Now, come on, we're talking about it right now, are we? Where are we with it?
I don't know. The way I looked at it was like, I saw it as two mates just having a laugh and a joke, but I think what they forget is that they're icons of the club, legends of the club, and what they say does reverberate around the world, especially if they're having a little dig or a little laugh about one of the players. And I can see why Lisandro Martinez, although I didn't get offended by it on his behalf, I can see why he would feel a certain type of way about it. But one of the things that I was thinking of it is, during your time at United, you did have the luxury of being very protected. Sir Alex Ferguson was almost like a mob boss. You couldn't, he protected his players. He made sure the media were kept in place. And this is a very, very different Manchester United, right? You could probably compare it more to England during your time, where there's toxicity and the media attention around the club is always a little bit crazy. Do you realise the impact of your words when you say them, or is it just me and my mate having a chat?
I haven't really as much, probably since them comments. There has been a lot of backlash towards it, and toxicity is the word that you use, and a lot of people have probably labelled that at me and Nicky for the last few days. And look, it's not something we like doing. We want to see the team winning. We want to see the team successful every single week. And you go back to when we played and when Jamie played, you did get a bit of criticism. I think it's probably more so now than it ever has been that people are speaking their mind. And you've got to deal with it. You've got to realise you're at probably one of the biggest clubs, well, definitely one of the biggest clubs in the world, and you are going to take a little bit of criticism at times, especially when it's not going as well as it has, or as well as it could do.
I think when you say, and it probably applies to myself as well a little bit with Liverpool, when you say, people say to you, yeah, but when you say it, it goes somewhere, or people are aware of it, but we're in the media, so what does that mean? We shouldn't have a job, we shouldn't, we love talking about football, we love doing this show, or you love being on Sky, or you're on BT. It's like, you can't think, you've got your own life to live. It's not just like, I'm Mr. Manchester United, or I'm Mr. Liverpool for the rest of my life. I love doing it. You get paid as well. You still got, you got things, it's not just like your life finishes at 35 at your football club, and you can never, not so much criticise, and you don't know where your life's going to take you and what you're going to do and what you're going to get involved in. I don't think you can always... I think there's definitely something in my mind sometimes when I think... And probably with Liverpool, I would probably say now and again, I would probably hold back a little bit on something that I probably wouldn't do with another club, because I think, I don't really care about United or Chelsea or City. And sometimes I do think, oh no, I don't want to say that. Liverpool have got a big game coming. Or maybe I'm doing a newspaper column, I think, No, I'll leave that one. You know, so there probably is a slight bias there. I do think in my own club sometimes, a little bit, but I don't think you can always be on every show you're on thinking, oh, I can't say that, I can't say that, I can't do that. There's no,
because fans aren't stupid as well.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And other people from other clubs aren't stupid. Like you say, it's a job to us. We're getting paid to do it, so we have to say what we think. And sometimes people aren't going to like that, especially when it's not going great. I can imagine for Carroll last year, it was brilliant. Liverpool winning the league, looking like a great team again. It's gone a little bit funny now. So it's not something, I don't think it's something we really enjoy doing. But it's, as Jamie said, it's our life now. That's what we have to do.